Hey, welcome to another chapter of Old Man Brad. Whether this is your first time listening or you're returning for another chapter, thank you so much for giving me a listen. And if you love Old Man Brad, drop me a review over on your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, whatever it may be. I'd love to hear what you think of the show. So this week, I have another new film for you. It is The Seating, and this is currently playing in theaters, and you can rent it on VOD. Starring Scott Hayes and Caitlin Scheil. This is a film that I saw a trailer for a while back, and I was really interested in checking it out. I'm glad I got to see it. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the film. I'm going to try to keep them as spoiler-free as I can. I'll try to skirt around some things just so I don't give too much away, so you can go hear what I think of the movie and go rent it without being spoiled. There are a few twists in the movie that I'll kind of skirt around it so I don't give them away. Enough of my rambling. Let's move into The Seating.
Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear me? Get me out of here! Hello? Hello?
Mother said we live in the desert. But out there lives the mirage.
Tell me what's going on.
Here is all sand, stone, body of flesh. No mirage. All very real.
Hey! Hey, yeah!
There's strays.
I'm stuck down here. Do something, please. Get bully out! Hey! What are you doing?
What did they do to you?
You live in a hell, woman, held hostage by children. Help me!
A man finds himself trapped in a desert canyon with a woman living off grid who is captive to a pack of sadistic boys. This is written and directed by Barnaby Clay, and like I said before, it stars Scott Hayes and Caitlin Scheil. I'll just say at the top that I really did enjoy this movie. There are parts where I kind of figured out the twist partway through, and I was like, this is kind of probably what it's going to be. That's what it ended up being. It didn't take away from the movie. It starts off with this opening scene of a child walking in the desert, the small child in a diaper carrying a severed finger he's gnawing on. And you have this music from Tristan Beckett. Oh my gosh, the music in this movie is great. It really sets up that sense of dread. The cinematography in this movie is beautiful by Robert Leitzel. So much of this desert scenery, the red rocks when they're in this canyon, just the way it looks. I thought this movie looked fantastic for one. You give me a good look, great shots like that, you're going to really draw me into this film. And then you have this man, Wyndham, who is played by Scott Hayes, who he's a photographer, and he's out in the desert trying to catch pictures of an eclipse. He gets his pictures, and then he finds a child. There is another younger boy who says he's lost his parents. Can you help me find them? And he goes to help him as he runs away, and he ends up kind of down in this little canyon, climbing down a ladder, and there's a house all alone down in this canyon. And I've watched enough horror movies, and I know a lot of you out there have watched a lot of horror movies. A single house out in the middle of nowhere, this is going to end poorly. That's the first thing that crossed my mind was, this isn't going to be good for him. He ends up trapped down in this canyon, and there's this woman, Alina, played by Caitlin Scheil, and she takes care of him. He wants to try to get out because this ladder that he needed to get up out of there is gone. His character is kind of an asshole. He is kind of a prick. I get what he wants. He wants to leave. This woman, you find out that she's probably been there for a while, and this is just her life. And he's kind of an ass, but this film really probably make or break off of these two performances. And I think that both of them, they played off each other very well. Caitlin Shield, she really has a Dakota Johnson, not only look, but just persona to her. Like, she just carries herself. There for a minute, I was like, wait a second, is this her? No, it's not. But she does a great job of this woman trapped down in this canyon. And Scott Hayes, like, you hate his character, and then he kind of turns around, so you're like, okay, maybe I love him, and then there's this snap. He's not a super likable character, which, in all honesty, it didn't make me want to root for him, which probably would have put it on the downside if I was really going to say anything negative about the film. Is this character I didn't really want to root for. I didn't care if he got out of this canyon. I enjoyed these kids up above that are keeping them down in this canyon. It, kind of a weird Lord of the Flies backwoods. Why are kids always crazy? Children of the Corn, Village of the Damned, all that stuff. Why do we do this to kids in horror movies? Maybe it's because kids can be terror sometimes. But everything in this movie, it really gives you a sense of dread. You kind of delve into this madness that is kind of spiraling out of control, into this darkness. And every time that you think there is a moment of hope, it is ripped away from you. And it leads up, like, there's a twist for something with the kids that you find out later. And like I said, it's one of those, like, you kind of figure it out as you're watching the film. It doesn't take away from my watch. Like, I still loved it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And would definitely recommend checking out The Seeding. But it was kind of a bummer that you kind of figured it out partway through, but the ending itself was a bit of I don't want to say a full downer, a bit of a downer, but kind of I could have seen this coming kind of thing. Overall, Scott Hayes, Caitlin Shield, all the kids acting in this, I think, did a fantastic job. They really carried these scenes that they were in. And, when you're in mostly with just two characters in a house, you got to hope that happens. And for me, it did. It was dark. It was bleak. And like I said, every moment of hope just felt like it was ripped away from you. And the score, oh my gosh, the score from Tristan Beckett was even added to that dread and darkness as it went along. Go check out The Seeding. If you get a chance, if it's playing at a theater near you, go check it out. If not, go rent it on VOD. It'd be a nice movie to watch for your weekend, because I truly did enjoy The Seeding. Before I go, I'm going to give you a couple, one watch and one not to watch films at home. The first one that I cannot recommend, I just watched Night Swim the other night. And this was a movie that I was excited to see in the theater, but I never had the chance to make it to go see it in the theater. It just came out to rent, and I watched it, and man, this movie, I don't want to say it was terrible, but it just did not work in any fashion for me. There were scenes that looked great. Like, there were a lot of pool scenes and shots and stuff like that looked great. There's these ghosts that look pretty good, but any suspenseful moment in this film, I felt like I started laughing at it. There are some Marco Polo things that I laughed out loud at the screen as I'm watching it. Every character in this movie just felt like they were going through the motions and weren't fully invested, which didn't get me invested. And it was silly unintentionally, and I cannot recommend Night Swim. But the one I can recommend that you watch at home is Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight. I recently just hosted a screening of Demon Knight at the Esquire Theater here in Cincinnati. It was such an amazing night. Everybody was into it. There were a bunch of people that had never seen Demon Knight before. I'm Old Man Brad. I saw Demon Knight in the theaters when it came out in 1995. And I was super excited to be hosting the screening because I really do enjoy the movie. It'd been a few years since I've seen it, and getting to see it up on the big screen again just brought back those nostalgic memories. This movie has great practical work. Billy Zane in this movie is chewing up scenery every time he's on screen. Jada Pinkett did a great job, and I can't recommend Demon Knight enough because it is just a full-on 90s crazy horror film. I know you can rent it. I think you can watch it on Stars. You can stream it, but definitely go, if you've never seen Tales from the Crypt Presents Demon Knight, go check it out. Tales from the Crypt is something I wish they kind of bring back. That was a show that I always loved watching. I always loved The Crypt Keeper and would love to see a resurgence of Tales from the Crypt. There you go. That will do it for another chapter of Old Man Brad. Like I said, drop me a review if you love the show. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you never miss any chapter of Old Man Brad, including my series Tales from Tubi. And I have another series in the works that will be announced soon. Just keep it right here and you'll hear all about it. I'll be back next week with some more great reviews. I have Departing Seniors coming next Friday, a new horror movie directed by Claire Cooney. Won't want to miss that. Just snuggle up in your blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.